Next up on today's Time Space Visualiser, it's time to talk Dragonfire, with a reunion of two of the Doctor's companions. This story saw the departure of Mel and the arrival of Ace and her Nitro 9. Please welcome Bonnie Langford and Sophie Aldred. Hi guys, how are we doing?
Hello, doing really well. I'm wearing my t-shirt that Sophie gave me when we met one time, just so that you don't forget that I'm Mel and she's Ace.
Bonnie, you're so good. Well, I'm not to be outdone. I'm wearing a Doctor Who t-shirt, not with your name on, but it has got. Hang on, I'm going to do some kind of, let's see, some gymnastics here. Can you see that?
Very subtle, very subtle.
Yeah, don't you like that? Yeah.
We'd expect nothing less of you.
And I'm sure, Bonnie, that's just what you wear all the time, isn't it? That t-shirt.
Yes, all the time.
Yeah, you can never
look at myself in the mirror and I go, Drogoff, ganglang, knob. I have got a jumper actually that says Bon Bon. If you look at it on a wrong screen, it just says Knob Knob, you know.
And that's Bank Holiday Monday morning for you there. So
she just knows can't take her anywhere.
No.
You can't. This is just going to be chaos. I can just see it now before we even start. Lovely to have you both with us. Obviously, Dragonfire, a story that you both have fond memories of, I'm sure. Your first story, Sophie, and unfortunately your last story, Bonnie.
That was all right. It was lovely to work with Stove. We had a lovely time, didn't we? I had a friend at last.
Oh, I was so lucky because, I mean, you know, I'd watched you, Bonnie, for years on TV and I'd never met anyone famous really in real life. So coming into that rehearsal room for me, that great big room, and walking across to the table and thinking, oh, there's Bonnie Langford and, you know, and Sylvester McCoy, who I'd seen on Vision on. I was quite nervous, and you just immediately put me at my ease, and you were just so helpful and so great. And you needn't have been, you know, but you're, you know, I now know that you're an amazing, wonderful, lovely person. So, you know.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll pay you later. But I always thought that with Doctor Who, we were like a sort of a little mini rep company with guest artists that would come in all the time. And I think for anybody, no matter who you are and actually what you do, going into a room of strangers for the first time is like one big audition. It's like one big job interview, and you don't know who you're going to connect with, and it's just really daunting. And those rooms were very big, very bleak and very blank, and it's always with a read through, you feel like that's when you sort of are doing your big audition, and they might turn around and go, actually, do you know what, we made a mistake, we don't want you after all. So it's daunting for everyone. So I was in the very privileged position of having been there the week before, and at least I could go, oh, new people, come, welcome to the family.
Yeah, I often
also you sorry, Jason.
That's okay.
You because I didn't even know where TV Centre was. I don't know if you remember, but I mean, I at the end of our rehearsal, the first rehearsal block, which I think was probably a week or something, and we'd kind of got on by then, and it was a lovely cast, wasn't it? There was Tony Selby, and there was Eddie Peel and Tonia Sober and Pat Quinn, and we all got on really well. And then at the end of the week, everyone said, right, see you at the centre, you know, see you, bye, yeah, see you next week for filming at the centre. And I had to come up to you and say, Bonnie, could you actually tell me where TV Centre is and what I do? Because I had no idea. Everybody just kind of, because I just slotted in, everybody assumed I knew what I was doing, I think. I had not a clue.
Well, that's it. That's a good sort of testament to you, in the fact that you didn't make out that you were this sort of newbie. You didn't make out that you didn't know what you were doing. So everyone assumed you did. You know, you just made out that you were part of it. You slotted in. You weren't sort of having to be, oh, I don't know anything. So we all thought, oh, she knows what she's up to. But we have to remember as well, we didn't have Google then. You probably had to look at it on your A to Z.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, and I didn't know West London at all. I was in sort of southeast London, so getting the tube to White City and working, because of course you always think it's in Shepherd's Bush, but actually no, it was in White City. So yeah, it was an adventure.
Yes.
I always say this to people when I'm interviewing them, that if you're going in as a guest on something like Doctor Who, it could be quite daunting, but it does sound like, you know, it's up for the lead cast. I think always welcome the guests into any show.
Well, I think it's important. We had so many guests.
Bonnie, go.
No, it's all right. We had so many guests that were just massive stars. I couldn't believe they were actually coming onto the show. I was always thinking, oh, this is incredible. You know, when you just said Pat Quinn, I adored Pat Quinn. She's just the most crazy person. I love her to bits. Pat Quinn was on Doctor Who. It just used to make me, it was just sort of like this lovey fest some of the time. I would think, how great that these people are on the show. So it was exciting for me. And yet you could see that they were still daunted by it all at times.
What was your first studio like, Sophie?
Oh, well, once I'd worked out how to get there, it was extraordinary because, you know, there was just this assumption that I did know what I was doing. And I think I was probably, you know, I was 24, kind of a little bit, not arrogant, but sort of quite, I was confident. I think I was, in many ways, I was more confident than I sometimes am now. And, yeah, so I kind of marched up to reception and gave my name, and they handed me a little key, and I thought, oh, that's interesting, you know. They said, I said, what's this? They said, oh, that's your dressing room key. So then I kind of went round and I matched up the number on the key with the door, and you know, went in, and there was my costume hanging up. So I thought, oh well, okay, I'll put that on, and I put it on and just sort of sat there and waited and thought, well, something will happen soon. And then somebody popped their head in and said, yeah, follow me, you know. So it was all completely, I didn't know anything. And then I walked into this massive studio, because it was in Studio One, which was the biggest studio in Europe at the time. And it was all covered in plastic and kind of sheets of pretend ice, wasn't it, Bonnie? It was an set. You know, it was really amazing, this massive tall set with big walls. And then the very first set that I was on, you were up on this gantry, sort of scaffolding, looking down, and I was in front of Eddie Peel, who was tempting me with this coin. And initially though, they had to have a look at me on camera to make sure that, you know, I looked all right and hadn't sprouted a head in the night or anything like that. And they realised that my stripy tights were strobing, because I wanted to wear these stripy tights. So then I had to go off, and they had to find me a quick pair of tights, which were bright red, and red is not a flattering colour on camera. So I ended up wearing these bright red tights. But you knew all that, Bonnie, so you'd got this gorgeous costume. I loved your costume for Dragonfire.
Yeah, I liked that costume for Dragonfire. By then, I'd actually sussed it out, because I even had flat shoes as well, which was great. And I bought it. I got it from Pineapple, I think it was. It was just a tracksuit thing, but it was the first time I'd really had something that was almost appropriate, that, you know, I could actually move in and do stuff in. So I'd worked it out by the end and managed to sort of go, why don't I just buy something? You know, why don't we just go, rather than have things like madly made and wearing white in a quarry and things like that. But also, I do remember standing at the top doors of the studio, and it was the big studio, and we didn't always have that big studio. That was unusual, and it was quite sort of overwhelming. And then you said to me, they've told me to go to makeup, but I don't know where it is. And we went through the back, because, you know, it's a maze in that place. It's an absolute maze. So I do remember we went together for that.
Oh yes, and it was so lovely to have you there, to sort of as my guide, really. I felt very safe with you and with everybody. I mean, I guess you couldn't not feel safe with Sylvester either, and he was a great sort of he wanted to have a party basically all the time, didn't he? So it was great to be under his wing as well. But it was lovely. You guided me through, because I that was another thing. I still never really wear much makeup. You know, I put some lippy on today.
Very nice. Very nice.
But, you know, usually I don't wear anything at all. And the makeup woman, I remember, she'd come in rehearsals and she'd said to me, "Oh, I think we'll just have you with a no makeup look." So I remember thinking, oh, well, I'm not having makeup then. But of course, not realising that under camera,
more makeup than ever.
Yeah, you need to make it look as though you've got no makeup. You need quite a lot of makeup, don't you?
Yeah, you do. You do. It's ridiculous. You think, what? And then they take your makeup off. If you go into in something because you think, oh my God, I can't go in looking like an absolute ghost, and you go in and then they take it all off and then they spend hours putting it back on again. You think, I had more on when I came in than I do now, but it all looks like I've got nothing. I know, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's quite good actually, because the both of you get to share quite a lot of screen time during the story, because you sort of linked together and sort of the story progresses through. So there's a really touching scene actually where you're both in the ice corridors and Ace tells Mel her real name, Dorothy. Obviously it's just a really nice scene, and it's shot and lit really well. And ice is a difficult thing, I think, actually, to try and display on TV.
Yeah, very difficult. I love that scene. It was actually, that speech was the audition speech that I did. So it was sort of familiar to me anyway, but it was quite unusual, wasn't it, to have that sort of pause in the action in Doctor Who, to have a little kind of scene more about our relationship than about anything else. And it was, it felt more like a sort of little drama scene than a Doctor Who scene somehow. It's great.
Who directed that one? I can't remember who directed that episode.
It was Chris Duff, who's now, he produces all sorts of amazing stuff. Really nice guy, lovely guy. And that's who I auditioned for actually. He's the guy I have to thank for this whole incredible, crazy life that I've had for the last, goodness knows how long, 2 years, I think, isn't it now?
I don't remember.
Something like that.
I've often thought actually that you would have both made a great TARDIS team actually, had it panned out that way.
Well, I guess in those days they only had one assistant, so I mean they've had multiple, haven't they, before and since? But at that point they were just going for one, and maybe that was my fault because I said I was leaving. Not that I thought that I was ever meant to stay. I was doing something else. And I thought, well, I said I'd do it for 2 seasons, and that was 2 seasons. No one ever said anything, and I was like, well, I've got something else to do. So that was it. It's weird, isn't it? You know that thing where you kind of don't assume that they're going to ask you, and then when you say, well, I'm going, they go, but we were going to ask you, and you go, were you? I don't know. Is that something you're just saying to be nice, or I have no idea? But it was fine. It was good.
It was a shame, really, wasn't it? Yeah, I mean, because you've always got stuff to go on to, so you'd already got booked up by then, so that was kind of it, really. But I mean, we're lucky though, because we've had a chance to get together on the Big Finish audios. So, and I think that's really been so great for your character, hasn't it, for Mel?
Oh, for Mel, definitely, because one of the reasons that I left was the fact that all she did was run around, get in the way and scream. And I just was like, oh, this is crazy. It's not representative of the character. It's not representative of women of today and all that sort of thing. I just thought, oh, that's boring. Done my bit here. But the Big Finish, you're able to, not only suspend your imagination and think of all these effects without them being a little bit creaky, but also you can actually take that time to develop a character. And also she's different. She's not stayed this kind of one-dimensional person. So yeah, the Big Finish audios are great. I enjoy them a lot. They're fun. I haven't done one for ages actually. Do something. No. I have to set up some kind of studio in here, won't I, with a duvet and something like that.
Yeah, I've got
my neighbour's kid. My neighbour's kid is practicing the piano. Can you hear it? It's playing Harry Potter. We have this every day. Every single day I can hear it. It's just now. I can't do anything about it. And the other day he was playing something that just drove me so mad. I actually had to put my ear things in and just listen to other music because I was like, I can't hear this music again. Can't hear it again. So it's just now it's happening.
It's been fun actually to see how everyone's improvising with their little studios for the big finish, because Peter Davison's is underneath his stairs, it looks like, and it's decked out as the TARDIS interior.
I saw that photo. It's hysterical. Well, I'm in my airing cupboard. I'm doing audiobooks from there. And
it's a bit hot, isn't it?
Well, it's actually okay because the heating's not on, so it's not hot. But it's perfect because, of course, it smells nice because it's got all the newly washed towels and stuff, and it's really good kind of padding as well for the sound. So it's hilarious. I shut myself in there. Really
Somebody's
funny.
drilling now. Someone's drilling now. So I would be hopeless. I can't do any recording from home at all because the world around me is going nuts. So.
And I was going to say, how was life in lockdown? But it sounds like it's been a little bit of a nightmare.
Well, normally for me it's all right because, well, I'm in sort of West London, but it's been beautifully peaceful and quiet. I drove up to London not a week yesterday, so Sunday week, and it was like a ghost town. It was just weird. It's really,
Wow.
and I have to say it was much quieter up there than it actually is in West London because everyone's just going a bit stir crazy now.
Yes. Yeah, I spoke because I'm slightly out in the country, and you can probably see we've got this lovely garden. I'm so grateful for it. So I've just been spending as much time as I can outside when I'm not in the airing cupboards. Yeah, and it's been nice having time with family. In fact, it's my it's our youngest 17th birthday today. So yeah, we're
Happy birthday, 17.
I'll go and find him in a minute. Can say.
So what's happening to him? What's happening for him as far as college and school? You know, all that and exams, and I suppose that was last year and maybe next year.
Well, no, his GCSE this year, so it's been very strange, and I think this is true for all the people out there with these, you know, the GCSE and A levels. But their school, it's a performing arts school. It is at Tring Park, so they've laid on a full timetable, including hilarious things like the dance classes and in fact, Vince and I have joined in a couple of jazz warm-ups in the garden with him. He takes us jazz warm-ups. Yeah, it's hilarious. But yeah, they're soldiering on. They're doing really, really well. I mean, I really feel for the kids because it's you know, it's not easy for them not being with their friends, because especially teenagers, they don't want to be with their parents, really, do they? They want to be among their own.
But thank goodness for technology, because that way they're able to actually connect somehow, even if it's through a screen.
Exactly, yes. And William's incredibly creative. So he did a Zoom quiz show last week where he filmed himself being a game show host in front of a green screen and did his cheesy game show. Yeah, it was great. It was great. He's editing it all together at the moment.
So are you both on Big Finish at the moment? Is there any Big Finish coming up that you're working on?
No, we haven't been asked, have we, Bonnie? But let's hope we're next.
No, not been asked. But you know, that's all right. We'll do something eventually. It all comes round, doesn't it? It just goes round.
Yeah.
And how brilliant that they've got the Big Finish audios that people can sort of delve into. I know they've been selling them off, and they've also been, you know, some people have been working their way through whole sort of series and seasons, and this is, I guess, the time to do that.
Yeah, it's really fantastic because they're kind of keeping everybody going. It's really great, like you guys as well. It's so amazing what you know, what Fantom have been doing, and it's such a contribution. So yeah, thank you to you guys.
Yeah, I mean, we've spent lockdown, it's fair to say, very busy. We've put so much content out, but the reaction we've been getting has been brilliant. And you know what? It's for the fans at the end of the day, and I think that's really what this is all about.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, whatever contribution you can make is just fantastic, isn't it? And we will get together at some point.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it? You know, the longer it goes.
Do you want?
Oh, is this the birthday boy?
Yeah.
Happy birthday, my darling. Hi, what are you going to be doing today?
I'm just about to make some vegan banana pancakes and have like a nice little picnic. Yeah. Nice.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Go out in the garden and have a
Fun.
picnic.
Yeah, oh, it's lovely. I'll do that now.
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you.
Make me a pancake.
I will.
Well, it's been amazing chatting to you both. We've run out of time. Actually, that's been quite a nice bank holiday morning chat, really, hasn't it?
Oh, it's just lovely. Well, this is what's so lovely as well, is that, you know, to see you, Bonnie, it's just such a treat. So
Oh,
getting us all.
And you, darling, I can see the lovely blue sky in the background and your gorgeous garden. It just makes me feel like I could run out there now, but you know, we got to get out.
I wish you could.
Actually, some of it at first was really lovely because it was sort of being at home, and that's something I haven't done for an awfully long time. But I miss people. I miss having hugs.
Yes. Yes, hugs is the thing, isn't it? Yeah. We'll all, well, one day soon, we'll all get together and have a massive hug.
Absolutely, a big group hug.
We'll have one big party, that's for sure. And you need to wear that T-shirt, Bonnie, to the next Fantom live event that we do.
I do, don't I? I will. Okay, remind me.
Actually, you both need those T-shirts at the next live event.
Definitely, we'll do that.
I won't be going out like this today. It will make me look a little bit weird, but anyway.
Time's defeated us. Thanks for spending time with us today. Really appreciate it. I haven't got an audience to sort of clap and say thanks very much, but Sophie, Bonnie, really appreciate your time today.
Well,
it's such a pleasure. Take care.
Love to everybody. Take care.